Alcohol intoxication is basically any alcohol poisoning which can cause deterioration of the body. In milder forms, it's basically just the loss of consciousness and the loss of coordination in milder concentrations, of course, whenever we are talking about. But the forensic aspects of alcohol doesn't just stick to the poisoning sense, because a lot of accidents and a lot of traumas are caused just by even the milder intoxications. So these has to be categorized whenever we are talking about the forensic aspects of alcohol, because it can cause moral deterioration and even it is a drug of abuse. So we have to consider these aspects as well whenever we are talking about the alcohol intoxication in general. In this section, we are basically discussing the alcohol and the circulatory system in detail over here. Now, the circulatory system, how it can basically coincide with the alcohol consumption, how it is metabolized, what are the main organs. For example, the liver is the major organ where the alcohol is metabolized. And so any chronic abuser, the liver is going to be damaged to a major extent. And then how is it excreted from the body? Basically, liver and the kidneys are the basic metabolic organs of alcohol. So the effects of alcohol on the body are basically major on the liver, of course, because it is the major organ which is working for its metabolism. Then the calculation of the levels of the alcohol are again very important. We have to basically calculate the levels of alcohol and the deteriorating effects on the body accordingly to the saturations of the alcohol in the body. So all of these are discussed in detail over here in this first section. Now, the forensic aspects of alcohol, as we were talking, the ethyl alcohol is again very important. Locally, it is consumed. Ethyl alcohol is the major consumption factor over here. But methyl alcohol can be accidentally consumed, and we'll discuss that later on, its consumption and its toxicity effects. Now, the most abused drug, as I've already told you, is ethyl alcohol. 40% of all traffic deaths are caused due to this alcohol consumption. So whenever there is a road traffic accident or an RTA that you're investigating, you have to take the blood samples on spot. And even the breath tests are very important just to calculate the saturation of the alcohol in the blood. So breath tests are again on the spot tests which can be used for the detection of the alcohol, whether the driver is in an intoxicated or in a drunkard state or not. Then the toxic depressants. So we have to keep in our mind, it's a common misconception that alcohol causes excitement, because that is the only stage that is observed by any layman. But the basic factor we have to keep in our mind, that it is basically a depressant effect which is acting on the brain cells. So the toxicity is basically due to the depressant effect on the brainstem and the medulla oblongata. So these are the levels of the brain in which the respiratory centers are involved, and due to the depression of these respiratory centers, basically it can cause the fatality. So all of this mechanism have to be kept in mind. Now, it appears in blood within minutes of consumption. So it can be detected in blood even after minutes of consumption. It can easily cross the blood-brain barrier, and so the neurons are bathed in this alcohol and the effects are quite evident. Then the detoxification in the liver. So as I was already telling you, the major metabolic organ is the liver. So we have to keep in our mind that the detoxification also occurs in the liver. And 5% of it is excreted unchanged in the breath, in the perspiration, in the urine, and in the mammary glands. So all of these are basically the excretory units, and we have to keep in our mind that these can be also used for the methods of detection of alcohol consumption or any states of drunkenness. Now, the alcohol and its relation with the circulatory system is again very important. It is absorbed from the stomach. We'll just quickly go through it just to give you a comprehensive review, that it is absorbed from the stomach and then enters the small intestine. The liver, basically the process of oxidation of the alcohol, it takes place primarily in the liver. We have to keep these points in our mind, and it goes through the circulatory system and then it enters the lungs. Now, the alcohol and its effects upon the body are again very important. It's a very comprehensive and a very generalized diagram just to give you an overview. So the red basically indicates a bad gesture, and the blue is generally indicating a good gesture. Of course, it is not in a very good sense, but still it's causing, when we basically weigh the risk versus the benefit ratio, it's basically damaging to the body. So what happens here, we'll quickly go through the large consumptions over here. The brain is the major organ which is affected over here. It causes the impaired development. The Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome is again very important. It is the lack of coordination is the major factor over here in the Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. The vision changes. Ataxia is basically the loss of the balance, and the gait is affected primarily. There is an impaired memory, psychological cravings. Cravings are increased, there is irritability, antisocial behavior is observed in such people, and there is depression, anxiety, panic disorders, psychosis, hallucinations are observed, and delusions, along with sleep disorders, which can include insomnias, in these sleeping disorders as well. Basically, the person finds it difficult to put himself to sleep without the intake of the alcohol. And then the mouth, trachea, and the esophagus. So it can cause cancerous conditions in these organs. Anemia can be observed. Alcoholic cardiomyopathy is a very common pathology observed in patients with chronic alcoholism. And then we have chronic gastritis, pancreatitis, and increased risk of type 2 diabetes mellitus. So all of these have to be kept in mind. Almost all of the organs of the body are affected, but primarily the brain is affected. Now, so this is basically a very, it is a good side to the alcohol intake, but when we weigh these good sides to the bad signs, basically it is damaging to the human body. So it increases the insulin sensitivity, and it lowers the risk of diabetes in some patients. There are a reduced number of silent infarcts, and there's increased level of HDL, which is a good cholesterol. And we have decreased thrombosis and reduces the fibrinogen, and fibrinolysis is basically increased. So reduced artery spasms from stress, and there is higher bone mineral density. So the joints are basically, it prevents the rheumatoid arthritis, and it basically reduces the risk of developing gallstones as well. On the other hand, the kidneys basically developing the gallstones as well as developing the kidney stones. Both of these risks are reduced whenever the person is taking alcohol. So the alcohol breaks down to acetaldehyde. This is the major metabolic factor that you have to keep in our mind. So what happens is, after it breaks down to acetaldehyde, it is going to cause the drowsiness and as well as delirium. So delirium is basically an altered state of consciousness which is observed in patients with alcoholism. It can be even acute or chronic alcoholism on the other hand. And then hallucinations. So hallucinations are basically defined as, it can be the visual as well as it can be the auditory hallucinations. So the person sees or observes things which are not there actually. So all of these are observed in alcoholism. Loss of intelligence, there is severe damage to mouth and throat. As I've already told you, it can cause cancerous conditions. And the fluid in the lungs, that is pleural ascites, is also very common in patients with acute and chronic alcoholism. Then the chronic respiratory diseases. So the chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, all of these are observed in such patients, and the kidney and the liver damage. Throat irritations are again very important, and it can even cause dizziness in a lot of patients. There's a generalized redness or swelling of the skin observed. Now, how do we calculate these blood levels? So there are some factors and some calculations done by a scientist which was named Widmark, and thus it is named after him, the Widmark factor. So it's basically the concentration of the alcohol that is put in these formulas, and it can give you the blood levels. So the breath tests are again very important, and the blood sampling is again very important whenever we are calculating these Widmark factors. An intake of 0.2 grams of alcohol per kilogram body weight is likely to result in a blood alcohol concentration in males of 25 milligrams per 100 ml. So these are already calculated and researched by the scientists. The average rate of decline of the blood alcohol after a peak is almost 15 milligrams per 100 ml per hour. Another fact which is very important is that the weight of alcohol imbibed may be calculated from the knowledge of the volume strength of the liquor and the amount taken. The weight of the alcohol per kilogram body weight is calculated, and a ratio of 0.2 grams alcohol body weight would produce a blood level of approximately 25 milligrams per 100 ml in a average male. In females, the levels so produced may be 20 to 25% higher. In only beer intake is done, peak will be considerably less, and drinking during or after a meal markedly fattens the blood concentrations. So all of these have to be kept in mind, the factors and the calculations, and what are the metabolic rates of the alcohol in our body, and what are the circulatory relationships to it. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.